watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit is indeed willing, but the flesh is weak. And we even people who aren't Christians use that phrase, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. And I think we tend to conceptualize that this way. Well, I in my spirit want to do good. I have good intentions, but my flesh is weak. So what ends up happening is I do bad. I want to do good, but I end up doing bad. I think a better way to understand that, Jesus is saying, look, if your confidence is in the flesh, you have at your access great weakness. Okay, there is no way. Like, you remember Cain, okay? Cain had his flesh. He did not have the Spirit. He did not have Emmanuel. He did not have God with him. All he had was his flesh, and it was weak, and he failed, and he fell into sin. Jesus is telling Peter the same thing. If you are going to live by the flesh, if you are going to count on the flesh, if you are going to seek fulfillment in this life through the flesh, if you're going to try to escape the pain and consequences of life through the flesh, all you have is weakness. But by the Spirit, you get willingness and strength. And we'll just look at one last passage here where Paul takes this thing that Jesus is saying, the Spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, and in the encouragement not to be overtaken by temptation, and Paul brings it home to us. He makes it very real to us in Romans chapter 8. Makes it very real to us in Romans chapter 8. Starting in verse 9, he says, "You, however, are not in the flesh, but in the Spirit, if in fact the Spirit of God dwells in you," Emmanuel, God with us. Okay? "Anyone who does not have the Spirit of Christ does not belong to him, but if Christ is in you, although the body is dead because of sin, the Spirit is life because of righteousness. If the Spirit of him who raised Jesus from the dead dwells in you, he who raised Christ Jesus from the dead will also give life to your mortal bodies through his Spirit who dwells in you. So then, brothers, we are debtors, not to the flesh, to live according to the flesh." Look, before we have Jesus, before Emmanuel, before God with us, before the Spirit, all you have is the flesh. All I have is the flesh without Jesus. And I am indebted to it. It's the only master that I can serve. But the Spirit has come so that there can be something different. And Paul tells us what that looks like in verse 13. He says, "If you live according to the flesh, you will die. But if by the Spirit you put to death the deeds of the body, you will live." Okay? Cain could not put to death the deeds of his body. He could not control his murderous nature. He didn't have the Spirit. Paul tells us that it is by the Spirit that we put to death the deeds of the body. It's God with us, Emmanuel, that makes this